Welcome to Fresh One, the BD Outdoors podcast brought to you by the Coronado Brewing Company. Stay coastal. All right, we're here with Chris Arichadera and Tony Bangos of CCA Cal. Welcome. Stoked to have you guys on. Talk a little bit about the plans for 2024 and beyond, and maybe to hear about a little bit what you guys have done the past couple years. Tony, I know, for those of you who don't know, is newer to CCA. I'll let Chris talk about his experiences and how long he's been on board and kind of what's been going on. But yeah, we're really stoked to have you. We also have Nate Winicki, my coworker.
Yo, what's going on?
And CCA specialist in one way or another. Has been on a couple podcasts for them as well.
Yeah, it's been super fun. Specialist, I love that. So Chris and Tony, they've been great. They actually have me on as one of their co-hosts of their own podcast, Doc Talk. So if you like this episode, if you want to see more of us, feel free to check that out.
Yeah, on YouTube too.
On YouTube as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
happy
to be here.
Yeah,
super
man.
stoked.
You know, up until a couple weeks ago, I did not think that this guy had hair because he's always wearing hats.
Always in a hat.
You've got luscious locks, dude.
You know what? I've been growing it out, Chris.
Nice.
This has been a plan for like 2 or 3 months now. Trying to grow it out, trying something a little new. You know.
Okay.
My dad has been flaming me about the hair. He says I look like his best friend in 1976 in high school with like the flow down the middle and everything, but I like it. I think it's a different look.
It's going to add wonders to our podcast.
There we go.
Well, it's good for the winter too, you know. You keep
exactly.
you warm. Every time I get a haircut in the middle of winter, I'm just always freezing.
I don't even think about that though. That's perfect. Exactly. Growing it out for the winter.
That is true because whenever I get a haircut, it's usually all or nothing because I can't stand like this trim here and there.
Yeah.
I always look weird. And it is true. When you cut your hair and buzz it, your head gets cold. Like, legitimately.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love that we're starting off on this tangent.
Team Beanie.
But
I can't participate in that conversation whatsoever. I can't relate to a buzz cut. I don't think that's in the cards for me
I think you can
anytime
pull
soon.
it off.
Nah.
Thanks, but no.
Do you guys want to talk a little bit maybe about what you guys do with CCA, and then we can get into some of the upcoming things for this year. But I'm sure people would just like to know a little bit about yourselves and the organization as a whole, and maybe what becoming a member entails, how we can help out, so on.
Yeah. Well, I'll let Tony start because her background is phenomenal. In case you don't know, but yeah, go for it.
Thanks, Chris. Well, yeah. So a little bit about me for those of you who don't know me. My name's Tony, and my whole life it's always revolved around the ocean, and you guys have seen that already. But it's always revolved around the ocean. I always wanted to be a part of the ocean in one way or another. Growing up, I thought I was going to be a marine mammal trainer. I had spent time working at the Aquarium of the Pacific, at the Alaska Sea Life Center with marine mammals and birds, and doing wildlife rescue with bald eagles and ice seals. So I had a really awesome experiences, straight into high school, right out of high school before going into college. Fast forward a little bit, got my bachelor's degree from Long Beach State in marine biology. Volunteered at the white sea bass pens during that time while I was there in Balboa. What else? I feel like I've always been busy, right? So the goal for me was always to do something with marine biology. And once I got my degree, I said, okay, well, now I got it. What's the next step for me? So while I was going to Long Beach State, my parents said, you want to go to college? Great. You got to figure it out. So for me, that was working on sport boats in Alaska for a few seasons to afford to go to college. So that's where my sport boat experience started, essentially. Now, Alaska is a lot different than down here in California. And it was a steep, very steep, slippery learning curve. Being a deckhand in Alaska, being a deckhand down here. Man, I thought I knew fishing. Boy, was I wrong. I learned so much. Being on the Grande the last 3.5 seasons, something like that. Got my captain's license, my 100-ton this year. And so for me, it was, okay, I got my license, I got my degree. What's going to be that next step for me? So for me, it seemed like a no-brainer when Chris approached me and talked about CCA a little bit more in depth and said, you know, we have this position, I think you should apply. And it's been maybe 3 months since I got, I think just under
Has
the
it been
3.
that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
We're rolling.
So now I'm new assistant director for CCA California, and it's been awesome. It's been an awesome ride.
I'm glad, and you guys are just getting into like the busiest part of the year with all the trade shows coming up. I know is a hectic time for everybody.
It wasn't even my first week, and Chris was like, "Hey, we're gonna go start a new chapter in Morro Bay. Do you want to come?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go."
And then we made that drive, and she was like regretting it. No.
No,
Oh,
that's
man,
not
what
true.
did I do? What did I do? For someone who maybe, you know, is not really familiar with CCA as an organization, Chris, do you want to dive into like exactly what it is you guys do or what you try to promote, and you know, ways that we can get involved as a community?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
So CCA, Coastal Conservation Association in California, we're basically, a lot of our members use this a metaphor or analogy, basically the NRA for fishing. So basically we go out and fight for your right to fish in California. We've got full-time lobbyists both in Sacramento and in Washington, D.C. through our national organization. Our national organization is in 19 different states, California being the newest one. Back in 2015 is when we started here. But it's been 9 years. It feels like 20, but it's only been 9 years since we started here in California, and it's been phenomenal. I've been around for almost 6 of those 9 years. It's been great. Basically, we're a grassroots organization, so it does start with these conversations, right? These people, our members, our volunteers, and we have a lot of them. A lot of volunteers, a lot of local chapters. We're up to 9 local chapters. When I first started, I think we only had 3 or something. So we've made a huge push, growing the chapter network, growing our volunteer base, and we're not done, obviously. So, you know, when the 3 main categories for CCA: advocacy, habitat, and hatchery. Advocacy, that's going out, the lobbyists in Sacramento, fighting for our right to fish, because believe it or not, in California, a lot of people do not want us to fish. So it's a necessary organization for us to exist. But then, you know, really, we're going out and trying to accomplish things like last year, we implemented the 365-day license.
Yep.
Which, thank God, a lot of people.
It's been a long time coming.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Working at a tackle store, that has been the biggest upgrade or just thing that people are stoked on. It's amazing how many people are like, about time. You know? They're just like, thank goodness. Because, I mean, you used to buy a license in November and it would expire in a month. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like that in most states around the country. So it's awesome that you guys were
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I wish I can take credit, but it was really Wayne Cotto, our executive director.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you, Wayne. In our GR committee, led by Mark Gorelnik. Also, you know, just to not take complete credit, you know, there's a couple other groups that were really just not egging it on, but basically trying to push that through, the 365-day license. And they tried to do it for almost 9 straight years. And I can't remember how many different attempts, but it would fail after failure after failure every year. And that's, you know, that's politics and everything. But just to kind of give you the strength of CCA a little bit, we took it on first year. And we got it through our first year. And that's with a whole lot of lead time, a whole lot of work done by our committees and all that. But we got it done. It's awesome. So that's one of our bigger victories in you know, recently in our past. Back in 2020, there was this bill called AB 3030, which, if you guys aren't familiar, 30 by 30, that whole concept, we can talk about it all day long for hours and hours and hours. But this is supposed to be fun, right? So, so you know, AB 3030, everyone rallied around CCA, and that's when everyone, our volunteers, our members, all the landings, all of our sponsors, everyone stepped up for CCA in 2020. Okay, in case you guys didn't know, we went through a little bit of a COVID situation, but ultimately that bill was defeated, and that was a huge feather in our cap. Unfortunately, 6 weeks later, our governor signed an executive order implementing anyway. So ultimately now, you know, with the relationships that CCA Cal has created over the past, we're able to kind of sit down and really kind of have the people from CDFW, from the OPC, from CNRA, from all these other groups come to the table with us and actually work together on what we want to try to accomplish. So that way we're not fighting in the trenches. We're not, basically going back to our old habits of everyone just riled up, yelling and screaming at each other and all that. Because ultimately, we're conservation minded, right? So we all kind of have, in my eyes, we all want to get to the same spot, but it's all different implementation. Like the ways in which we get there is all different. Mm-hmm. So, that's really kind of where CCA has been able to thrive recently, where, saying, hey, let's do this, not do that. Let's go, not negotiate. That's kind of a bad term for this, but basically, let's go work things out in a nutshell.
Have a discussion about it.
Right. And also, one thing that is going to happen this year, the Cal Cod Conservation Area. Mm-hmm. It was one of those things where it was proposed at PFMC to where they were, Cal Cod was actually deemed rebuilt a couple years ago, 70 years ahead of schedule. Based on
no kidding.
70, yeah. So
wow.
What we ended up saying was, hey, if Cal Cod's being rebuilt, why do we have the CCA, the Cal Cod Conservation Area? So just this year, I'm pretty confident it's going to go through. Actually, it will go through to where we're going to have that area open back up to groundfish, with the exception of all the pinnacles and all that, which we can live with. But ultimately, that opens up, I can't remember, but it's like a massive amount of area just to go groundfish. Mm-hmm. So amazing. That's another little victory for us as of 2024.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah.
I think that's really where the CCA shines the most. I mean, it gives fishermen a political kind of voice, and it's not just for California though.
It gives us a chance,
right? And it kind of just lets us or our kind of views or opinions kind of known to this national setting. It's not just in California, it's not just in the South, it's, what is it, 15 states?
19.
19 states, which is amazing. That's most of the coastal states, I'm sure of.
Pretty much all of them, yeah.
Not only is it fishing though, but it's conservation. And I think that's really where sport fishing is heading. I think there has to be at least a sense of conservation within fishing, kind of putting on more catch and release tournaments, seeing that limits are at least kind of respected or seen, and, just having people work for that and advocate for the fisherman who loves the outdoors but doesn't want to destroy the outdoors is so important. Yeah. Because there's so many of us that we're not just killers, we don't want to destroy it. We want to have it for our kids.
We enjoy it so much. Why would we want to go?
Why destroy it?
I think I watch a lot of like Meat Eater, and I know we're not a hunting deal, but it's so similar to
show.
He's great. But he makes such good points on the show where he talks, and I think it's the same whether you're a fisherman or a hunter or both. When you're in the situation day after day and you see, what's going on where, the seiners can wrap, however many tons of this stuff, and we're catching one fish at a time. Yeah. Or when you're hunting versus, mass farming, you're taking one animal at a time, you're doing it respectfully. More and more people are practicing catch and release, whether it's yellowtail or all the bass fishermen.
To that point, I always go back. The generation, I would say probably our generation, well, you guys are all young, I'm old, but our generation and below, the Groms, I'll call them, are so conservation minded. Yeah. Especially in the bay bass, spotted bay bass. No one's keeping spotties anymore.
No way.
Nor are they keeping calicos, at least not as many. And if you want to, that's totally fine. Yeah. That's totally legal. That's totally fine. And then on the flip side, Nate, you'll be happy. We, there's a proposal out there for to bring the California halibut limit from 5 to 2.
Really?
But those are the issues where we kind of go there and say, is the science there? Are you really sure you want to do that? Mm-hmm. So that's one of our projects this year that just gets kind of forced upon us every year because every year, believe it or not, there's usually about, I want to say like 2,500 to 3,000 bills introduced in the California legislature per year alone.
Jesus.
So our job is to basically go through all those bills when I say our job, it's not me. I'm not doing that. But our lobbyists, Wayne, CCA National, and all those guys, we have to comb through all those bills because you never know what surprises you find.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of in a nutshell what we do, and that's really only the advocacy part. Habitat, we're trying to put together a habitat project year after year. It's kind of on pause, or has been on pause in California because of the CDFW and all that. They kind of have some protocols that we have to go through. But ultimately, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get an oyster project on the books. We're trying to get eelgrass restoration on the books. Some kind of habitat project, because if you go to any other CCA state, virtually, Louisiana, Texas, Florida, they're basically putting in new reefs every single year, with the exception of California. So we're trying to change that. That one takes a lot of time, but we're still working on that. And then hatchery, we're partners with the Hub SeaWorld Research Institute in Mission Bay. They run basically the white sea bass program that has grow-out pens up and down from San Diego to Ventura.
Yeah.
And our volunteers are typically the ones that are running those grow-out facilities, the ones that are actually releasing the fish. And Hub SeaWorld Research Institute, those guys are basically one of their ex-leaders kind of phrased it in a way, which I like. We're homies, basically. We're homie organizations.
It's a great organization too. We've gone there to visit and do a tour of the facility, and they do such an amazing job.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
And they also do the California halibut.
Yeah.
And I think yes, we have these fluctuations year to year of cyclical fisheries, or one year might be better than another for whatever reason, but at the same time, this winter is some of the most fantastic halibut fishing we've seen locally in the harbors and the bays.
I can speak to that.
I was going to say, Nate.
and even this last spring, like up in the Channel Islands, was phenomenal fishing. And hopefully it's because of these organizations that are rearing hatchling fish and letting them go at whatever size is appropriate. I'm not a scientist, so I don't know. But
so one thing on the California halibut, that was actually I guess I'll call it a collaborative deal. So back in 2018 and 2019, Hubs came to us and said, "Hey, we need to catch some halibut," and so ultimately we rallied our volunteers. We got a whole bunch of, I think maybe a half.
You had to find people to go halibut fishing.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That must be so tough.
We're trying to find.
Bad for those guys.
You must have been looking for a while.
Yeah. So we piloted a program, and it worked to where we had private boats, and at the time I actually had my 6-pack boat. So my 6-pack boat would be in the mothership where everything would be delivered, all the fish. So and all this area would be San Diego Bay. So if someone catches a legal halibut or something, or even just any halibut, they'd call me, they'd hit me up, we'd go to run over there. My boat had all the tanks and everything, and we'd pick it up, and then all the scientists were on my boat to do what they need to do. And then I think in a day, we caught probably 15 legals out of San Diego Bay.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's a good day of fishing.
I can give you some spots, Nate. So, and ultimately those were the broodstock fish led to what you saw at the hatchery, where you have all these baby halibut. And then the year after, in 2020, all those fish that we collected spawned. So what did we do? We had to basically get a delivery of a baby California halibut, and there's a video on our website and on our YouTube page of this. It's pretty cool. Where we released halibut in Mission Bay.
Yeah, I remember
I
that.
saw that, and I thought it was the coolest thing,
Yeah.
releasing a bunch
Yeah.
of 6-inch halibuts.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, that's kind of what we do with the hatchery program there. But CCA in general, it's all about the members. It's all about the grassroots deal, and we kind of, this is all. I know this is all boring stuff, but it's necessary, especially in a state like California.
I think it's super cool. And I kind of want to ask Tony about this. Since you worked at the sea bass place, how does that whole process work? You catch the big brood stock, and then how does it kind of transfer from the big females all the way to the little babies? Is it a complicated process, or is it relatively kind of straightforward?
Well, I can't speak for that process because I wasn't in the rearing facility. I was part of the team that would go out on their little skiff in Balboa Bay or Newport Bay, and we'd go out to their pens because their pens were floating, right? So we'd go out, we'd do tank maintenance, we would go and meet with the fish, like the fish doctor, right? So like it was this doctor that his specialty was diseased hatchery fish, which was super cool. So being able to take him out and observe the fish, a lot of it was observational. A lot of what I was in the side that I was involved with had to do with water parameters, kind of like making sure your fish tank has the right fertilizer settings and your water temperature, your dissolved oxygen is appropriate. So that, for me, it was more the sciencey side of it.
Giving the little fish the best shot they can.
Of course.
Gotcha.
And creating, I think it's so difficult. I remember on our tour, they're creating the proper water conditions to have those fish spawn.
Yeah.
I was going to say water temperature is a huge deal.
And I mean, everything, you go on and on, like salinity and pH, whatever.
So with the California halibut specifically, I remember a story a couple of years ago about how, the halibut's new to them, right, with this whole program. So they were literally trying to figure out what conditions are the perfect conditions. So to give you an example, they put them all in a white tank. What do you think happened? There were a whole bunch of albino halibut rather than a black tank or whatever.
Really?
Yeah. So it's just working out the details and all that. But also everything goes, just a full disclaimer. The halibut program is not funded by the ORHEB money. It's actually under private funding. So none of your license money is going to that program. But we're trying to incorporate that because the California halibut is moving up the list in terms of species of I forget what the term is, species of importance or something.
I can see that.
Yeah. So basically, with that kind of leads into that sector, the California halibut, going into that ORHEB program. That's what we're hoping, but we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, it makes sense that it should be because halibut, I think, shares a lot of similarities with sea bass, that they're an inshore species. They don't grow super fast, and there's not a massive population. But every time that somebody catches illegal, I can't say every time, but the vast majority of the time they catch illegal, either sea bass or halibut, they're keeping it.
They're keeping it.
Because it's delicious. And that's kind of,
Understandably so,
it's unfortunate for the fish. It's great for us. Like halibut fish and tacos is like my favorite thing. Fish and chips, I mean. Amazing. But, if we have a hatchery program to supplement that population, I can't bring up the numbers now, but I know that the sea bass stuff has made a significant impact on the amount of sea bass out there.
30
and we're
years.
catching them. Yeah. And, if you are a sea bass fisherman, one thing you can do to help this whole kind of research and conservation is keeping your heads. Turn in the heads to any sort of like Scripps Center or research center. That's a huge part of it. Because I remember, this was years ago, but I visited one of the sea bass places in Carlsbad, and I was amazed that in every single fish that they have, they put this microscopic little chip right in its cheek, right? And that chip stays its entire life. Yeah. So even if you catch a fish that was released 10 years ago, that chip can still be tracked, and it's invaluable information to the guys putting those fish out there.
Yeah, so actually, I'm glad you hit on that, Nate. So with the sea bass program, it's been around for 30 years. Right now, because of science and because of the, I guess, the acceleration in a way, we're coming up with new methods. So it's been found, that those tags, although, super convenient and all that, may not be the most effective, or we might be making or missing a whole bunch of fish because those tags, we're finding out, either they demagnetize or they fall out or whatever reason. So now we've moved on to genetics, where there's actually the South Carolina Department of Research, or they're Fish and Wildlife, basically their equivalent, Department of Natural Resources. So what they're doing is they're actually we're shipping our heads to them to figure out the genetics piece, because there's a huge peer review project out there right now. All these years, not to throw them under the bus, but CDFW and others were saying, that program, it's not as effective as we're thinking it is, as the anglers. They're claiming, less than 1% effectiveness. Well, after the initial project a couple years ago, sending it out to South Carolina, their initial findings were like, no, it's not 1%. It could be actually in the teens it could be even up to, I think 30-something%.
So a significant increase in the amount of fish.
So we're putting a lot more resources, putting a lot more, setting them a lot more heads. That project needs to be peer reviewed. I'm not the expert, but so more to come on that. But ultimately, it's looking promising. I don't want to catch what's that phrase? Count the chickens before they hatch.
Yeah.
But it's looking promising for that program.
I also don't want to put any words in any scientist's mouth, but I know of the study you're talking about, and I'm sure we can have Owen on again, and he can go on about this.
Oh yeah.
But they're essentially what they were explained. The way that I was explained the project was that if these fish are being released and then spawning, if you catch a spawned fish, it's obviously not going to have a tag in its head.
Right.
But through that genetic testing, they can find this is a sea bass that is a hatchling of, or an offspring of a fish that we did raise in the hatchery.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And they're anywhere from northern Baja to Channel Islands, these fish are going everywhere too.
Even before, all the way to south of Baja, or Baja Sur.
These fish are
all the way up to they're catching them habitually in San Francisco Bay.
Are they really?
Yeah,
I
it's
had no
ridiculous.
I know about that whole NorCal sea bass scene, and I know it's like super hush hush.
Yeah.
But there's big ones. I don't know anything about it. I've never fished them. But yeah, it's amazing the range of those fish. I heard they go all the way down, and they go into the Bay of into like Sea of Cortez. You catch them in Bay of LA.
We were talking about this the other day. Because they go off to those offshore banks like Cortez and Tanner.
I was just about to say.
Imagine being on your way to Tanner Bank and running over some school fish. Oh, imagine knowing that was just a school of sea bass just swimming in the middle of the
sea
ocean.
bass, okay.
They're there at some point, right?
They had to be in the middle of the ocean at some point to get to those banks.
On that note, I've heard of a fish caught. It spawned in like the 90s out of Mission Bay, and it was caught maybe 20 years later. It was a massive fish out at Tanner.
No way.
Wow.
It was ridiculous.
They follow the bait, I guess. I guess it's amazing how much those fish travel, and we don't think about that. Inshore species traveling from destination to destination. They're going up and down the coast. There's hot spots of them, obviously.
Yeah.
But if you know what conditions to look for, you know where they're at.
What's great too, they have the hatcheries up and down the coast, and there's one in Catalinas or not on the backside of Catalina. And they release fish from that location as well, right?
Well, they don't release fish from there. They actually, so what we do is a lot of our volunteers, every year, we get a scientific collection permit, and we go actually catch broodstock sea bass.
Okay.
That's been happening the last handful of years or so because Hubs needs more broodstock fish. So ultimately, they go out, they fish sea bass according to their tides or moon phase or whatever their protocol is. And then ultimately what happens is they go catch those sea bass and deliver it to that pen out in Catalina.
Okay.
So it's almost kind of like a holding pattern. And then at some point of the year, they send a big boat out, collect those, and bring them over to Mission Bay. But yeah, ultimately, we've got grow out facilities definitely in San Diego, Carlsbad. And by the way, if anyone ever wants to take a tour, I strongly recommend it. It's fascinating, and if you need to go get a tour, just contact us on ccacalifornia.org. But ultimately, all the way up to Ventura, Marina del Rey is a big one too. So up and down the coast, I think the one in Channel Islands Harbor, right next door to Cisco's, I think they typically get about 10,000 fish a year.
Wow,
more or less. So
that's impressive,
and they release them every year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, we did a boat release out of Dana Point Harbor on the Sump Fun with Mr. Woolley, Brian Woolley.
Nice.
That was literally, in my opinion, more effective than just raising the nets and all that, and just letting them go in the harbors. We've done that in the past, so I can't imagine it won't work.
That's awesome. So So the CCA is conservation oriented, but also I think it's really cool how you've garnered such a community of fishermen nationwide. God, there's tens of thousands of people that signed up for the CCA.
Especially in California, though. Like,
but
the support behind you guys here is been outstanding, I think.
It's been phenomenal. Everyone that I talked to about the CCA is pretty supportive of it.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks that's,
so.
you're kind of repping us, repping the fishermen, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah, thank you. You know, I think not sorry to go on a tangent on sea bass and halibut, but ultimately, you know, in 19 different states, it introduces you to the network. You have the national organization, which nationally we have about 140,000 members.
Wow.
In 19 different states.
Jeez, that's amazing.
Yeah. So it's almost like Wayne describes it as grandparent, parent, child between national, state, and then local. But we've got that I guess recognition, but also that bandwidth, where you know we have a lobbyist representing all of us in DC. We also have a lobbyist in Sacramento representing all of us too, working just as hard, if not, you know, probably a little harder because of California. But you know that's really the benefit of CCA coming to California, because there was this group prior called United Anglers of Southern California, and they went under, and CCA came in, and we started up in 2015 and been rocking and rolling ever since.
And it's the foundation. It's having so much of that support behind you guys.
Yeah.
You guys aren't going nowhere.
You know, it starts with our members, man. It starts with our members. It starts with our events, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But really, the Super Bowl for us in terms of members and promotions and all that are the upcoming show seasons. That's really kind of where a lot of our members come together. Everyone pitches in. This year we have a massive booth inside, so we're going to need them for sure. There's a lot of carpet to man by yourself. Otherwise, it'd just be me and Tony.
No, I think by the time this is out, we will be in the middle of show season, or maybe just gotten through it. So yeah, hopefully you came and saw. You know, everybody had us at the shows already.
The beauty about it is we're always taking members. Yeah. So if you missed out on
365 thing.
Exactly. If you missed us out on the shows, we've got plenty of events. We've got banquets. We've got fundraisers. We've got tournaments, fishing tournaments.
Practically every month. There's something going on every month.
And is there like a full schedule obviously on your website somewhere?
I was just about to ask. You should see our schedule, man.
Yeah.
It's like ridiculous.
I can't
every
imagine.
single weekend is booked.
Awesome.
Yeah, well,
that's busy.
It depends on who you ask,
sure.
But yeah, it's the right thing to do.
I'd love to, being, you know, a fishing company, I'd love to dive into the Star Tournament that you guys are putting on this year and get some more information about that. I know people are starting to see it kind of come to fruition here, and like, oh no, I can all these rad prizes, but more so, you know, just supporting, you know, a good organization at the same time. And really, the prizes are rad though. So we're doing what we're already doing. We're fishing, and
exactly
might as well enter to try and.
So Star is. I want to say I keep flip-flopping between 2 years and 3 years. What did I say last time, Tony? Like 3 years?
I think 3.
Okay, so I'll say 2 years.
No, you said 2.
2 years? Okay, so it's been a 3-year project. I'm funny like that.
We've been working on this for 10 years, guys.
yeah. In a nutshell, kind of. You know, this has been a 2-year project of ours where, you know, if you follow CCA, any other state chapter, so they've got Star tournaments in Texas, Florida, Alabama, Louisiana, South Carolina. And now we're number 6 in California. So 2 years, you know, our state board wanted to bring the Star tournament out here, and we're doing it in, you know, full force. You kind of alluded to it, but our grand prize this year is an 18-foot center console Parker, plus a trailer, plus a 150 Yamaha motor. All of that.
It's insane.
Yeah.
For a
all
tournament
for catching
like
a
that.
qualifying fish.
Yes.
Yeah, just for a qualifying fish. It's a really cool tournament.
This is like a summer season-long tournament, right?
Yeah, so the nuts and bolts are Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Okay.
So we have 5 different species. Saltwater bass, so calicos, spotties, and sandies. California halibut, white sea bass, yellowtail, and then tuna. That includes the bluefin, the yellowfin, the big eye, and the albacore. So as long as you catch a qualifying length, and all of this info is on ccacalifornia.org/star. You know, so for example, the calico bass or the saltwater bass is 18 inches. Mm-hmm. So if you catch an 18-inch bass, all you have to do is whip out our measuring device, lay it down.
Which you get when you sign up.
You get one when you sign up, and then you take a picture through the Fishing Chaos app, and then you're into the tournament. you're in the running for that boat. But and shout out to West Coast Marine and Yamaha for making that happen. But also, there's more. We've got.
Oh wait.
Yeah. Oh wait, there's more. We also have 9 other grand prizes that are phenomenal. One of them being, a trip to La Paz with Tail Hunter Sport Fishing.
Yeah.
Jonathan and Jilly Roldan are some of my favorite people, by the way. You're going to get a week's stay for, I think, 2 down in La Paz with them. We've got 2 Alaska trips on the docket too. One with Sitka Fish, one with Pacific Sport Fishing Alliance.
Wow.
And that one you can actually choose between a trip to Alaska or a trip down to Mag Bay too. We're giving away an electric bike by Tern. I'm sorry if they're not all sponsors of BD, but I'll plug them anyway.
No worries. No.
A couple other ones. We've got a week-long trip in Costa Rica, and that includes, I think, 2 or 3 days of fishing with that too. It's just ridiculous what we've actually compiled in prizes. I think the retail value of all of them is north of $75K.
Wow.
So it's
a $40 entry fee.
A $40 entry fee. You have
It's
to
a
be a
no-brainer.
member of CCA.
Yeah.
What's fair is fair. So if you're not a member, it's $80. But ultimately, it's going to be an exciting summer, guys. It really is with this tournament. That boat's actually going to be at the show with us, so you'll be able to come swing by the boat you're going to win. It's going to be fun. So qualifying length, 5 different species, Memorial Day to Labor Day. Did I miss anything?
You can throughout the tournament, so Memorial to Labor Day, you can join and be a part of the Star Tournament at any time up until
Obviously,
the last day.
Obviously, a statewide tournament too.
Yeah.
Yeah. The NorCal guys are gonna crush us.
The NorCal guys are gonna crush the
they
big
got
eye,
they got all
the
those tuna.
albacore.
They got all the tuna. They got the
halibut.
best halibut fish.
Yeah.
I guess they have the
So-
white sea bass now too.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're gonna soak us in the white sea bass department.
And honestly, I've gotten a lot of calls too and questions about why aren't there more species, or why am I kind of out of this? Well, you're not. Like a lot of people from up north, they come down and fish San Diego or fish the tuna boats or whatever. But also, more to come on that. So this being our first year, our goal was trying to keep this as impactful, as powerful, and as exciting as possible, and also as simple as possible too. Because running a tournament like this can get very hairy very quickly. If you're in Central California and you're bummed because we don't have a groundfish species, or I heard the salmon, they were again, more to come. Not just because we start out with these 5 species this year doesn't mean we're not going to expand upon it next year. We just wanted to make this super exciting and super simple for everyone to understand. If you go to CCA Florida, their Star Tournament, they've got like 20 different divisions and mahi, and then also, we're going to hopefully try and bring this next year and the next couple years. They have youth scholarships, but for the youth, it's free to enter, and you could win up to 20 grand or something. We're trying to kind of do baby steps with this, but needless to say, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be really cool. And the beauty about it is you guys will actually have a chance because Tony and I are not eligible.
Oh man.
Well, there we go.
Thank
right?
goodness.
Yeah. More so her than me.
But yeah, I mean, I think the most exciting thing about the Star Tournament is the potential it has.
Yeah.
It's important to keep in mind this is the first annual California Star Tournament, which means you can only go up from here. And I know that we were talking to the guy who runs these Star Tournaments, and in Texas, it's been established for a long time now. They've been doing these for 35 years.
Yeah.
And, up until now, like the prizes he was talking about blew my mind. It was insane what they're giving away in Texas. They're partnering up with Toyota, and they're giving away I think 2023 or 24 Tundra, 5 of them.
Yeah.
Plus a boat, plus an engine. And that's for the redfish category. That's just for the redfish category.
Yeah.
So basically what that means to me though is that, if this is a success, next year's going to be even better. The year after that's going to be even better, and the year after that's going to be like insane.
I'm already working on next year. Yeah.
It's going to be super cool. It's not a really committing tournament either. I think that's the part of it that's so kind of appealing to me as a fisherman, is that there's not like a shotgun start. I don't got to drive anywhere at 4 a.m. to be at the long tramp in time.
Yeah.
This is, a season-wide thing that if I have that amazing day and I just bring my little ruler with me, I could win something like,
And it
like
doesn't
a life-changing
matter.
trip. It
It
could
does
be
not
super cool.
matter if you're fishing sport boats, private boats, shore pounding,
On the dock.
beaches.
I think that's
Yep.
great too.
That's
that
the
opens it
coolest
up.
thing.
That
Yeah.
opens it up to pretty much everybody.
yeah. I mean,
if not literally everybody.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's so inclusive, right? Which is a huge deal because a lot of these tournaments, I'm not knocking any of them, but if it is a private boat based tournament, that leaves a decent amount of people out, and this is just making sure that everyone who likes to fish and wants to be involved has the opportunity to.
Absolutely.
Which I think is great. Yeah.
And I mean, I see what you're saying with not having enough species, but at the same time, I think there is unique opportunities for NorCal guys and unique opportunities for SoCal guys. Because like albacore and big eye, not a chance here in Southern California unless you've got like you're like the luckiest dude ever. Exactly. But up in NorCal, I mean that's your thing.
Yeah.
Down here we got spotties, or bass. That's going to be kind of the category that I think the Southern Cali guys are really going to kind of like focus on.
Yeah.
But it's cool that a guy in Fort Bragg has just a good a chance of winning with a nice albacore as a guy down in San Diego with a 6 or 7 pound calico bass.
So there is one limitation. Actually, there's two. One, only U.S. waters, so you can't go down south of the border. And two, you're limited to 2 entries per category per day. So I'll give you an example. If you go out to Clemente on an overnight trip or a day and a half or whatever, you can actually get the Grand Slam or whatever you want to call it, where you get, 2 halibut, 2 yellowtail. Nate, this is what you're probably going to be doing. You can get 2 bass. You can also, oh, look, there's bluefin puddling over there. Let's go grab bluefin. So you're limited to 2 per category per day. You can't just sit off of green tanks and just pick off 18-inch bass bass after bass. But ultimately, it's fun. We're excited about it. We can't wait.
Sick.
Yeah.
I'm excited too. It should be a really good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Why haven't you entered in, man?
I have already.
Oh, you have?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm already in. I'm fired up, ready to go,
Okay.
Chris.
Okay.
But
You're on my list. I'll take
yeah.
you off of it.
But more on that. I mean, I know BD and CCA were working together to put on a little spotty tournament too,
Excited about that.
and that's going to
Yeah.
be super fun. It's going to be a lot kind of lower key, I guess, than the Star tournament. Not as big, but a community building event.
Yeah.
It's going to be in Mission Bay, May 11th. We're going to be there. It's going to be an awesome time. It's going to be a little sign up. We're still working out all the exact details, but it's going to be a place to just kind of come in where, it's going to be a very kid friendly thing, like mom and dad and son, come on down.
You're doing you guys are doing 2 divisions.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be like a Grom division where there's going to be a kid winning some prizes for sure.
We're doing
There's also
like
gonna
the-
be an adult division.
The fishing permit.
Yeah, exactly.
Age
So basically,
cutoff.
16
Yeah.
and older is going to be like with like the pro division or whatever you want to call it, and then like
Pro.
like everyone 15 and younger is going to be in their own division. So there's a chance for some kids to win some prizes, get stoked out. But also, if you're a good spotty fisherman and you want to have some fun with your friends, maybe see who's the best. I mean, there's going to be prizes, but also bragging rights. I mean.
Yeah.
It should be a really good time to be on the bay. May typically bites super well.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be on the bay. We're going to be doing some little videos trying to, preface it. I freaking love bay fishing. So it's going to be
Really?
something.
We will be fishing
Just a
in that,
little.
but we can't win. We're gonna figure out some
Yeah,
sort
yeah.
of side pod that we
Yeah,
can do.
but,
I'm gonna have to
a
fish.
wager.
Exactly.
I know Ira and his friends, they're not competitive at all. So
But it should be a really, really fun time.
Yeah.
Both for the good guys and also for the guys just kind of coming into the community. We're trying to involve everybody.
Yeah, not to steal your thunder, Tony, but she came to me at the tail end of last year wanting to do some kind of Grom event, some kind of kids deal, and I think this is actually the perfect opportunity.
It couldn't have come at a better time. Like, talk about speaking something into existence.
Yeah.
Because when Ricky and I was doing a sport boat roundup, and I told Ricky, I'm like, I really want to do a kids event. He's like, I've been wanting to do a kids event or a spotty tournament for a long time. I'm like, this is perfect.
Yeah,
why
perfect.
not? This is the time to do it.
I mean, it's
Let's get
a
it.
another
no-brainer.
thing that's it is inclusive to a certain level. Like, yes, it's pretty regional. It's going to be in San Diego. If you want to drive down from Orange County, you're more than welcome to.
I know plenty of people who drive down from
For
Orange
sure.
County, LA, and all that.
And like Nate was saying, that's a phenomenal time to go fishing, and it'll be probably before we're super gung-ho with all the offshore tuna stuff anyways.
Mhm.
Yeah.
A little half-day tournament, a little barbecue afterwards, and hang out on a Saturday that's hopefully probably going to be like sunny and 75.
You say that, but
Let's
then the
hope.
bluefin are going to show up in
Yeah,
freaking
I
March.
know. That's okay. We'll take a day to fish spice. It's
That's
fun.
okay.
And it's also, we had some of Ira's buddies on the podcast last week, and the support for saltwater bass is as high as I haven't been around for super long in the industry, but and you can probably speak to this better than I can, Chris, but the support for saltwater bass seems insane.
Are you calling me old?
No, I'm just saying that you've been in the industry longer than I have. You're not old.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. The momentum, the excitement. I mean, who would have thought, like, all of us, all the grown men in the industry would be fired up over bass, even though they're catching 200-300 pound plus bluefin and all that. And they have the SBS tournament every year that's super competitive, and we also have the Coastal Social at CCA where that's conservation minded. That's really just promoting catch and release bass, and for the most part, they're already doing that no matter what tournament.
Yeah.
And I think this one is gonna be it's gonna be epic. It's gonna be awesome. That's really the only two words I can really associate it with, because it's just a natural fit with Ollie being a state board member. I can imagine he was going to be on board whether or not we were going to do it, but it's pretty fun. It's going to be good, and I'm glad that it's all of us putting it together rather than the higher ups telling us we need to put together. We want to do it.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
No, this is something that, like Tony was just saying, like, this is something we've been wanting to do.
Yeah.
And finding, a lot of people don't know the behind the scenes of all the stuff that we do, but we're busy. And it's hard to find the time to really organize a tournament. Like you were saying, it's a lot of stuff to put together logistically.
Yeah.
You should see the spreadsheet and the Google Docs
Oh, yeah.
that Nate and I have already put
I'm so
together.
stoked that Nate and yourself are spearheading this, and you're doing a great job. And just doing something for the community, and it is going to be a catch and release tournament. So supporting that conservation mindset and
And it's going to be using the same app, the Fishing Chaos app, as the Star Tournament.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so that's kind
Yeah.
of we were trying to do that and got to get people familiar
So it's
with
a warm-up to
the
Star.
app.
It's a warm-up.
Kind of like a warm up
like
to
it.
Star. So like get people familiar with the app, kind of know what to use. It's not hard. It's literally you download the app, take a picture, and you just upload it. So it's just getting people familiar with it, so they
Right.
know what they're doing.
And it's cool. There's standings. You can
Yeah.
see how
Right.
people are
You can
doing. So
immediately
there's
see
cool.
where you're at.
you can make it a competitive
Unless
day.
I will say, unless you're sandbagging like Kevin Nakata, he always does that. Always.
What do you mean?
he won't
so
he won't
sandbagging?
post it until the last second.
Nope. So you may think you're in first place. Oh, this is great. I'm winning with a, whatever,
way.
a 16-inch bass. And then at 159,
sudden,
all these
bomb.
submissions come. It's like, oh my gosh, I went from first to eighth. My goodness. Yeah.
Hey,
so
man.
no sandbagging.
This
No,
is
Sam,
a
that's
competition.
a rule. You
Yeah.
gotta as soon as you catch that thing, before you release it, you gotta have
That's going to be in
Yeah.
the small print.
Yeah.
In the small
Yeah.
print.
But yeah, I mean, the thing that I'm like super stoked with is that I think BD is really offshore focused. We've got our Yellowtail Shootout, which is going to be an amazing event.
That's always a great
The
event.
next month, it's in June. But this is really going to kind of get this inshore community kind of stoked on BD. We're really trying
And
to
involved.
We're trying to kind of expand out both with the CCA and BD to reach as many anglers as we can. And this event's going to be great.
Not to act or not to be that guy, but I'm gonna be the old folk in the room for a second. You guys remind
You
me.
just call yourself old?
Yeah, you did
There
earlier,
you
so I
go.
might as well. You guys totally remind me of me and Matt Florentino back in 2020 when we created Coastal Social. It was the same deal where it was our project, wanted to do it, and everyone was super supportive of it. And now it's a template every year, and so is this tournament too. It's turning out to be. So it's it's the exact same scenario, and it's going to be epic. It's going to be an epic addition to our schedule.
Yeah, and to be
nice.
able to do something annually that people would look forward to, it's like the Yellowtail Shootout.
Yeah.
I think it's insane and it's awesome how we can get in the middle of June 100 boats to sign up to go
Oh,
fish
it's
for
crazy.
Yellowtail. like, maybe go fly a kite while you're out there, but the
Might
tuna
as
fishing's
well.
probably going to be pretty good. But
Yeah.
and for the past 2 years, the winning fish has been over 40 pounds. Like, that's
unreal.
pretty epic. And
Blows my mind.
Yeah.
Some of these yellowtail fishermen come out of the woodwork and just pound them.
Yeah, but
Like,
that's the
it's
other
insane.
thing. It's really cool to see these guys who maybe are not super forward on like social media or something, and they're
Yeah.
a little more behind the scenes, kind of hush hush, which I think is rad.
Yeah.
And then they come out and like, just went to my zone and had a normal day. Oh, we caught like 2 45-pounders.
Hey.
That's how you know they're good.
Yeah.
They're
Oh, yeah.
very unassuming. We see
yeah.
that on the boat all the time.
Oh,
like
I'm sure.
The quiet ones, they rail them.
Yeah, I just think doing an event that people look forward to, year after year is so important for the community.
Yeah.
And with the fishing community growing as rapidly as it has been over the past like 10 years.
Oh yeah.
I think it's more important to
Look at COVID.
to give
I
back
mean,
more and more.
Fishing was one of those approved activities.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, everyone and their mother fishes, which is great. It's awesome for the sport. I mean,
It's
even
great.
I've got my personal friends hitting me up randomly to go fishing. And I'm like, you? Really? Okay, sure, let's go. But it really was, I hate to say COVID was a good thing, but really it was a good thing for fishing because we had that influx. I think there was, gosh, I'm gonna screw this number up, but I believe there was an increase of like 4 million license sales in COVID alone.
Wow.
I can confirm that. So I work at a tackle store too.
Okay,
up
yeah.
in Oceanside.
Thank you,
And
Nate.
2020 and 2021 were by far the most profitable years that tackle store has ever had in its 40 years of being in business.
Yeah.
It was insane. Guys were coming in, and it was 2020 was such a weird year because at the beginning everyone thought the world was going to end. So
Yeah.
business was terrible. And my boss found a loophole to stay open as an essential business
Nice.
because we we catered to the commercial fishermen when they were allowed to be open or still going. So we were allowed to stay open, but we made nothing. Like we would literally make like $50 a day because the store would be dark,
Yeah.
and then one person would come in because they'd realize that like they could still go outside. But after that, free. No, but once the launch ramps reopened and everything kind of got back to normal, people had this weird kind of like feeling like if I don't do it now, I might never be able to do it.
Yeah.
So the fishing just licenses and new people coming into the fishing, it boomed.
I've
And-
argued this for a while, and I think like now fishing is cool.
Yeah.
Like I go
Yeah.
on Instagram, and I think a lot of the social media marketing helps for that. But when I was younger, granted, I'm a girl that fished like when I'm 6, 7, 8 years old. Not as cool, but there were people that fished, but you didn't really know about them. At least in my like sphere of influence growing up, right, in Southern California. But now I feel like it's just such a cool, and it is a rad thing. It's
Yeah.
like the best hobby to have. But fishing's just cool now. Look at all the lures that are coming out from a marketing standpoint, especially.
I have them all in my
like-
garage. Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
spent $20 on every single
I
one.
know. It's pretty sad. But I will say
You're spot on.
Yeah. I will say I think the biggest increase or the biggest growing category amongst anglers, interestingly enough, single moms. Single moms are actually increasing to where, you've got nothing else to do with the kids and all that. Moms are taking their kids out fishing,
Great.
which is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm
Why
all
is that
for it.
interesting, Chris?
Yeah, I just find it fascinating.
I think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
Again, at the tackle shop, I see it all the time.
I would have
Mom
never
bringing
guessed.
in their kid, and there are some kids that are awesome. They
They're
are
killers.
so fired
Yes.
up on fishing.
Yeah.
It makes me happy to see it. They come in and they're like, yeah, so I was out in the little lagoon and I caught an
Yeah.
18-inch halibut. I'm like, almost there, buddy. 4 inches, then you're gonna keep them. And they're
Next
just
year.
like so excited to tell me about it. It's literally like who I was when I was 6 and 7 years
Yeah.
old.
Kids
And
and
it's cool.
and females, I think more and more women are getting into the sport. I know I'd like to hear a little bit about you're doing like a seminar.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I'm
I'd
super
love to
excited.
hear about, because I saw it, but I'm really curious about it.
Yeah, so Pat and Bill reached out to me a couple of weeks ago. But basically I'm doing during the Bart Hall show this Saturday. I think it's at 3 Don't
So
quote me
like
on
a
the
month. So like a
times.
month ago.
I don't know when
probably.
this
Like
is
a
gonna
month.
air. This might not air before then. Most likely, obviously not. But yeah. So I'll be doing a women's panel, and I guess it's the first time that it's been a women's orchestrated panel during the show as one of their symposiums. So it'll be myself as one of the moderators and I think 5 or 6 other really prominent women I'd consider prominent in this industry that have been around a lot longer than I have in this industry. But, you know, we've all come from different walks of life and different experiences and different upbringings. So I think it's awesome that all of us in all these different stages of life have come to find this one sport that we all love. So we're going to talk about it and talk about how we all got into it. And there's a couple of the gals from Anglerettes that'll be out there too. So to get their perspective on what it's like marketing to women and hearing that feedback is what I'm looking forward to the most, because there's a lot of brands out there that don't have the best women's clothing.
Yeah.
You know, I've been wearing small men's shirts for practically my whole career, and I'd love to have a proper women's line.
Oh crap! I just gave her a small men's the other day. She says it like it's a no big deal too.
Nothing fits me either, but that's just because I'm short. My bibs are like down to my toes. I'm trying to walk around the boat and tripping over myself.
In all seriousness, though, this women's symposium deal, it's a big deal.
Yeah, no,
I mean, I think it's great because we all know, for the most part, we all know those prominent females, those prominent women that are in the industry. They're staples. Tony being one of them. And I think having them all on the same stage, sharing the same stage, we have people flying in for it too, which is fantastic.
No pressure.
Yeah, well, no pressure, but I think, you know, it's going to be great. I know I'll be there watching, and you know, at CCA Cal, we're super proud.
Yeah, no, and I think it's so important too. You know, I'm really stoked that something like this is happening, and I think you got to give credit where credit's due. Like, there's some badass women anglers in SoCal and beyond. Like, and I've seen Tony pull on a fish, and it's impressive. And
To say the least.
Yeah, no, and I think some people are, you know, don't realize that this is really like a sport for anyone who wants to do it, and it's really cool to see more women getting involved for sure.
I tell you what, I've seen can I cuss on here? Is that okay?
You say whatever
Oh
you
yeah,
want.
okay. I've seen grown ass men that can't handle 40-pound bluefin.
Yeah.
And I've seen women say, "No, I don't want your help. I'm gonna do it myself." And it doesn't matter how long it takes. Like, they're gonna
Hell
get it
yeah.
in themselves. And then I see these guys that are like, "Hold on, I gotta get the belt. Just I'll be right back. Just hang on to it for me. Just wear it out." And I'm the one who's holding the rod, like.
You're like, okay,
I'm
your,
just
your
gonna
fish
bring
is
it- I'm
actually
just gonna
it's
help
here
bring
now.
it in, yeah.
Would you like your rod back?
Yeah.
In my charter boat days when I was running boats, I swear all of my favorite groups were the ones that were all women, and it's not because of what you think, but it's because they all listen.
They listen to what
They
you're saying.
all listen. Like, I will
No.
tell them, hey, you should do this, you should do that, and that's going to make life a hell of a lot more easier for you.
Well, they're ready to learn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
They're not, you know, they don't have an ego walking on the boat
Yeah.
saying, oh, yeah, don't worry about it, I got it. And then, sure enough, that guy is just collapsing from fighting a 30-pound bluefin.
Oh yeah,
Or his knots are coming untied.
Or, yeah, exactly.
but you're not
Exactly.
touching it. God forbid. You can't tie his knot for him.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, go for it.
Like, I can't see, man. You go ahead.
Right? Yeah, just the whole inclusivity thing is going to be so positive in the next few years, and I think it's really important for the sport to continue growing. Is that we have to reach every demographic, whether they're male or female, or if they're a kid
Kids.
or they're old age. You know, if everyone enjoys the sport, it's going to last so much longer, and it's going to be there for all these future generations.
To Tony's point earlier, fishing is cool now.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, like I said earlier, I've got guys in my personal circles reaching out to me because they know I do that, and they used to say, "Oh yeah, he does something with fishing." All I know is that he's a fisherman, but they're actually coming up and saying, "Hey, you know, what reel should I get? What rod should I get? What's the best time of year to go?" Can I go with you? And typically it's like, I just had a kid, probably not, but yeah, go with these boats and all that. But
there's a newly found interest, I guess is the right
Yes.
word to say,
Yeah.
because I have in my own friend group, I have friends of mine that are like, hey, like what do you think about this rod, or where do you think I should go for this species? So, you know, as someone who's been deeply in love with the ocean my whole life and deeply embedded in the fishing scene for the last few years, to see other people, no matter what their background is, what their age is, to see them want to get involved and to start picking up this hobby, and then kind of segue into, well, what's CCA doing? Like that, to see that whole progression kind of go, I just think is such a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Makes the world go around.
Yeah, I mean, I think social media has a lot of pros and cons, but in this case, I think it's been a huge help at kind of expanding the community, because you don't have to be a fisherman to start seeing fish pictures. Mm-hmm. And, you know, if your friend is seeming like having a fantastic time out just on the water, you know, because there's different levels of fishing. You know, I think a lot of people, if you don't know what fishing is, you kind of think of just one idea of like a bloody deck and it's like, you know, just like stuff. But I mean, you can fish the bay, you can go off the shore. It's a beach thing, you know, there's all these different kind of levels to it. And I think social media opens that up to people.
Yeah. And thank God we brought Tony on, because she's basically, since the last 3 months, our social media game has gone from here to here.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's just because of bandwidth, and it's not that we were against it. It's just you hire a quality person and, you know, your game steps up.
It's amazing the impact it has.
Yeah. And also, you know, a lot more to come too. We're going to dive into, you know, we do the podcast. We're on YouTube now. We've got more content to come.
We have some spotty shorts going to be coming
Yup.
out.
Let's go.
Some back bay shorts.
Yeah. So I think it's
going to be a big year.
Going to be a huge year.
I'm excited,
for
man.
sure.
This all sounds really, really exciting. I'm excited to go fishing. I'm excited to win a boat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Boats.
Please
Also,
do.
so I mean, the CCA, along with these tournaments, you guys also charter a bunch of trips every year.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
like, you're with a bunch of these sport boats. So, if you want to be a part of the Star Tournament and you want to fish with the CCA guys, get on a CCA charter.
Yeah.
We're doing them of all different lengths, right? I mean,
So we're still putting together the schedule right now, but I know a couple of trips off the top of my head. We've got a couple with the El Dorado out of Long Beach Sport Fishing, June 7th and 8th, I think. That's a overnight trip. We also have a 2-day trip leaving on, I believe, the June 28th to the 30th. And then that following trip, we're actually doing a trip with Western Outdoor News, too.
Yeah. Back to back, baby.
Yeah.
It's like I'm back on the boat again.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. But, you know, also we've got a full-day trip on the San Diego, June 21st. That always sells out. As soon as that goes on our website, you better sign up. But all those charters, we usually do, you know, what we normally do is we include a membership with all of our charters. This year, we're actually including a star entry with all of our charters.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So all you have to do is be a member or a life member, and you're in the tournament already. We've got measuring devices for you and all that. But, you know, I think the reason why we did it is so we have more opportunity for people to come join us, learn about CCA, hopefully win a boat maybe, and a couple other prizes. And also, I forgot to say, we're also going to be doing weekly prizes too. So if you submit a fish, so Memorial Day to Labor Day, if you submit a fish June 1st or something, that week we're actually giving away a prize like a rod and reel combo or a gift cert or a pair of Costa sunglasses.
Every week,
cooler. Every week. Yeah. We're actually going to have, you know, weekly videos too, ran by our assistant director. And, you know, short and sweet. And also there's going to be a social media aspect too. So if you catch a cool fish and you're entered into Star, tag the Star Tournament account too. You might be in it for another like $250 gift card.
Wow.
And that's thanks to our partners at Cope's Tackle up in Bakersfield. So it's all kinds of excitement going on with the Star Tournament. I'm all for it. We're super stoked.
There's no shortage of
Prizes.
but like
Prizes,
opportunities
Yeah.
and prizes and trips and just so much good stuff that you're already fishing anyways.
Yeah, just don't leave your ruler at home.
Yeah.
Ruler,
Don't leave your
guys.
measuring device at home. Make sure you're entered too, because we have stories from like other CCA states where, they caught a tagged
Got the winning
redfish.
fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They weren't registered for the tournament, so they miss out on a boat or a truck and a boat.
There was some
Or something.
heartbreaking stories.
Oh,
where, like,
yeah.
This one guy caught a redfish, didn't look at it very carefully, and he found the tag on the fillet table.
Oh, jeez.
And he's
Yeah.
like, "Yo, I caught a fish. Can I get it?" And they're like, "Nope." And the other thing is, like, they tag fish every single year, right?
Mhm.
So say it's 2023 and you
Oh,
catch
yeah.
a 2022 tagged redfish. Tough luck, dude.
Yep.
So it's crazy. But if
Yeah.
we get that kind of, I don't know, that whole sort of competitive going here, it would be great just to get people into it.
You know we're competitive. It's gonna
Yeah,
happen.
it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. It's just in time. You know, we're realistic. I know we're not gonna get every single angler in California this year, but in the future, hopefully, it's gonna be drawing that much excitement with our prizes, and really, it all kind of goes back to our sponsors letting us doing these kinds of things, and just really drumming up all this excitement for not only the Star Tournament but also fishing too.
Yeah.
It could pay off.
Yeah. Right on.
Cool.
So a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff
Big,
happening.
big things
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
Big
But we didn't
things
even
this
get
year.
into like all the other issues and all that. There's so
Yeah.
much. In a nutshell, with CCA, I'm not kidding. Like our calendar's like full. Like every single 52 weeks, full. And we have a bunch of local chapters.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. We have a bunch of local chapters for between San Diego and all the way up to Morro Bay and everywhere in between. We're always looking for members. We're always looking for volunteers and people to be on those local boards, helping us pull off fantastic events, fun events. Like something that comes to mind in San Diego here, we have our Apps and Taps Festival, May 18th at Marina Village. So that's going to be cool. That's usually a big one. And, out in the IE, have you guys ever been to Topgolf?
Oh, yeah.
We're actually doing an event at
Oh,
Topgolf
yeah.
out there in Ontario.
Right on.
So it's super fun. We had our first one last year and sold it out. It was fantastic. And it's just, creating more fun events like that up in Channel Islands. We're doing a poker tournament, Texas Hold'em tournament. So, years ago, usually, about the time when I started CCA, it was the same deal every single chapter. You get a meal, you get a membership, you're expected to participate in the raffle and the silent auction. We kind of threw that typical, I'll call it banquet style event out the window, and we're doing fun. Because who wants to
You're
go?
making it exciting.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Exactly. We're trying to create more fun events, and as we continue to grow up to Central California and Northern California, it's just going to get better and better.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Love to have you guys on like mid-season, end of the season. Do
Yeah.
do a recap of
Anytime.
how
Little
everything's
Update.
going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's so
Anytime.
cool.
Anytime.
See what's going on.
It'd be
But,
super cool to see like if there's any like standout fish that get submitted to the Star Tournament.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
like
some
if there's like
500-pound bluefin
Like
and
a,
Norcal.
or like I don't know,
Yeah.
like a 50-pound halibut from the Channel Islands, because that stuff happens.
Oh,
every
yeah.
year.
As long as you send us the photos, we'll probably be able to see it.
And that's kind of the beauty about this tournament too, is that it's not necessarily based off of the biggest fish. That way, if someone catches a 320 bluefin, right off the bat in the beginning of the tournament,
Yeah.
it's not like
There's still
oh, well, that's
opportunity for
done.
prizes, exactly.
Yeah, the same opportunity that exists for that 320 pounder is the same that exists for a 18-inch spotty.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
That's an
there's
epic
a
spotty,
lot
by the
of
way.
It is.
Yeah.
18-incher is a
Love that.
freaking toad.
Yeah, sign
So,
up.
I got a question. What about the spear fisherman?
What about the spear fisherman?
If you shoot like a 50-pound white sea bass,
I believe it's only rod and reel only.
rod and reel only,
I'll have to get back to you on that, but I'm pretty confident it's
Just-
rod and reel only.
I could see that becoming a question.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Yeah.
Look at the
I'll have to
rules.
check the
Look at the
rules.
rules.
Yeah.
Read the rules.
Read the rules.
You would think
go
I
over
would
the
know,
rules.
but because we've been
all right.
going through the rules all day for the last 3 weeks. But
It's just, yeah, exactly.
That's also the beauty of having like the first ever tournament is
Yeah.
that maybe that's something that
yeah,
goes into consideration
Exactly right.
next year. It would be really cool to see because State of California, you can't tag fish unless you're under a specific permit,
Scientific collection permit,
Yeah,
yeah.
scientific collection permit. So it'd be cool to see how the progression of Star goes throughout the next couple years, and maybe there's a little loophole. Like Yeah, there's a couple fish that get tagged for something like truly phenomenal, like they do in other states. So it'd be neat to see, and it will be cool to see the progression of this tournament.
One
This
thing
is a
that I
work in
forgot to
progress.
mention, so aside, with the Star Tournament, we just announced a couple days, we do have a white sea bass head collection division. So
Perfect.
yeah, so
Awesome.
even if as long as you register with the tournament and you turn in your sea bass head, you're gonna get entered to win. We worked out a deal with the that research vessel RV Polar. You're gonna go fishing with them for a day
Wow.
on that boat.
Really?
So
Yep,
cool.
for 2 anglers. Yeah.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. If you guys don't know, like the RV Polar has some of the coolest fishing I've ever seen. So I think it
Yeah.
was Stoked on Fishing just did a thing with them, or another similar research boat
Yeah.
where they went out and they caught the brood stock sea bass.
Yeah.
And I got such FOMO from that because it looked so
Yeah.
much fun.
Yeah.
You're catching them on like bass gear, and then
Oh,
you
yeah.
net them and you keep them in this big pen. You see them swimming around. It is the coolest thing.
That's really
Yeah.
cool. That's a
So,
rad boat. Just
That is
to
an
get a guide
amazing-
to.
yeah, absolutely. Follow them on Instagram.
Oh,
RV
for
Polar.
sure.
They're awesome.
You guys are doing a good job setting this up. Sounds
Yeah,
like
that's
and
gonna be
I'm
super
I'm
cool.
stoked to see it happen. No,
You know-
it all sounds really really well prepared. And,
That's what it's about, man.
Yeah.
Trying to get up as much excitement as possible for not only the prizes but for CCA too.
yeah, right on.
Cool.
Well, it was great to have you guys on. We'll see you soon to be on the other end of the interview or the guest list on your
Yeah.
podcast.
Well, you guys are coming on our podcast
yeah,
too. in
no,
a couple
stoked
weeks.
in a couple weeks. We'll see you
Gonna be
there.
epic.
And good luck this trade show season.
Yeah, thank you. We're gonna need it for sure.
And we'll have a good fishing season. We'll see you. We'll see you in a few weeks.
Cool, awesome. Thank you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you
appreciate
guys.
it.
This is awesome.
Yeah.